All right, let's see if the live stream works now. Boop bop. All right, we're up. Sorry about all the delays and technical difficulties to you out there on YouTube. We're up and running now. I'll just run what I do, and we're gonna scalp some stuff here. Looking like Tesla broke the center of the box on this one-for-one upper range zone, and now we've made pretty much a bearish trend until we got to the bottom third of that. So this is a fib level retracement is what this is. And we can actually have a reversal here and come back up and see the upper range of this area around 187.50. That's possible. And then if, as I've been talking about, if this trend continues to get long, we could go outside of this descending channel here and break that 192 area and head for 207. That's been a golden pivot target. We'll see what happens. SPY here, we're approaching the top of the box now. We've come into a new range consolidation after our broader range. We're splitting the difference here. So we can still have a reversal here and run to the top of liquidity, but we still got to break some zones to get there. Worst case scenario, we can't break the bottom box here, and this is just built on a one-for-one from our pre-market range down to this accumulation, about the median of it. And realistically, it just splits the liquidity zone. So we got the upper range of the liquidity zone is around 415.10, bottom is 410.90. So we can split that zone and run that one-for-one bearish move.
Sense. All right, so I restarted my computer. I think that might have done it, because now that I'm doing a speed test, before it was barely hitting 20 for download, and now it's hitting 230, and the upload was barely hitting like 2, and now it's hitting 186. So
So
I guess that's better.
the, the upload's a little unstable though.
The upload it needs to be higher.
Well, not that it needs to be higher, it needs to be stable. So it went from like 2 to 6 or whatever it was.
No, it went from 2 to 186. So I
Okay.
restarted it, and the download and upload speed went back to where it was like yesterday. Yesterday when I was playing with it, it was like it was crazy fast.
Right.
But it looks like it's sticking around like 190 and 200 on the upload right now.
Mo
320 download, 180 upload.
Most Wi-Fi routers are more geared toward download speeds as opposed to upload speeds, so they're not ideal for streaming is the issue. So like you'll go
Yeah.
and load it down with an upload, and if you're running software in the background that you're downloading on at the same time, it'll compromise the upload speed before it will compromise the ability to multitask.
Gotcha.
All right, we're coming out of the box. Might just make it. Here comes our range. This range limit's going to be right here in this little short-term resistance zone we have here. I'll be damned.
He just emailed me 3 big emails. Does he know that I work in the mornings?
What's that?
I said Lucian just sent me 3 big emails, adding most of the people in here, like Casper and stuff like that. And I'm just like, dude, you do know I stream in the morning, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like that, Evolution. Sometimes I just gotta kind of like I hate to say it, but sometimes I just gotta ignore him and do my damn job, and then get back to him. He understands that though. He does. He was not gonna be mad or anything. Just tell him, hey, dude, I was streaming.
Yo, look at this. The download almost 370,
Yeah, there's.
so it's better now. For sure. That's weird. Oh, 45 came down on that.
I think the best solution in your scenario is to definitely go with a wired connection.
And if I can't, what's the next best thing?
Um. Well, I mean, you can go Wi-Fi, but you're gonna have to have you're gonna have to change some settings to optimize the upload.
What?
Um, don't know that you can do dual channel to the same card. Let's say that'd be cool because then you could receive on one channel and send on the other channel, but I don't think you can do that with your Wi-Fi card. You'd have to have a second one, and then you have to tweak some settings to make that work. There's got to be a way. The other equation is like, how's your house built? I mean, if you have a crawl space under the floor, you can easily come, under a wall and back up with a cable.
My room is it's an aft to the back, so it doesn't have the basement under it.
Okay. So then there might be an attic space you can get into as well, but that's a little more tricky to run a wire down a wall. But there's a really cool trick I know where you use a steel washer and a stack of strong magnets and just slide a washer with a cable attached to it right down the wall.
Listening to what Jeremy's telling me to do right now.
I'm a very very well-rounded handyman, dude. I know a lot of little tricks.
Again, guys, I do apologize about the technical difficulties. Not just today, this past week has been a little bad. Caught myself.
Worries.
Once things are back and running smoothly, I mean, I'm going to be able to then record and make videos and make supply and demand videos for you guys to just watch on YouTube as you please. Make
Yeah.
some reels and stuff so I could, like, simplify it real quick for you. I'll do another video on, like, reading, like, higher highs, lower lows, key levels, all types of stuff. So I'm just, as long as everything runs smoothly.
All right, Tesla threatening to break back into the upper range. SPY just crossed the regression line here in this channel. And as time goes on, I keep looking at these fan lines, and like, as time goes on, you don't always have to print your divisions as the divergence gets wider and wider, but it just helps. So you can see, the price was pretty expected to react here. Again, on the upper split, we could go and have a target right here. There's always going to be subdivisions when it comes to expanding divergence. Dang, dude, SPY just does not want to get outside of that 413 right now. Is there a news event pending? Let me see.
Yeah, I got caught on the fake out.
There we go. It takes me too long to get this calendar open. See, all the good stuff for today basically happened at 8:30. 11 o'clock, we've got the Kansas Fed Manufacturing Index, which isn't going to do that much. Other than that, 11:30, we've got the 4-week bill auction. That's kind of a low, medium impact on the market typically. 4-week and 8-week bill auctions don't usually have a significant thing. 7-year note at 1 o'clock, though, that might have some impact. Other than that, we're pretty much flat for news today, so we're not sure if we're going to break this range and make a trend day out of it or not. The idea is still that we have a bearish 1-for-1 setup, but we've got to break this range first, and this range is being very stubborn. It's just going to sit sideways, probably right through 11 o'clock at this point. We can get lucky and get a break before 11 and have a decent trade, but otherwise this is just kind of be trading chop, and the JFan's going to be very, very handy in trading that mess. And you can see we've had some deviations on the lines, but you can see the 1-for-1 set up pretty regularly on that. Right now we're kind of grinding right around the regression line. We're not really going anywhere, so you can scalp this a 5-second candle at a time and maybe get some 1-pointers every now and then, but this is going to be some tricky trading. It's almost as sad as it is a sit on your hands situation with futures until you see a range break, and that's going to give you at least a short-term trend to trade. Other things like Nvidia here, I mean, some options traders were pretty damn happy this morning, and I hope they got out of the way. Now we're looking at consolidation, And let's look a little further left on this thing. That is one hell of a parabolic move. I mean, hell, that's printed a massive weekly candle straight to a key pivot area, right? So
Did you scalp NVIDIA?
I wish I did. I missed the whole build on that thing, but I'm really focused on my Tesla trade. I've been rolling in and out of those butterflies and just killing it. So it's another one of those scenarios where it's not about what you trade, it's about how you trade it. So for me, it's how I trade Tesla. That's been my focus. I will say there's a couple of easy trend lines to spot on NVIDIA here, and you know even this has a split or a fan line in it on the weekly chart. We could resume up a little bit higher beyond that 400 mark to about 402 to 406 in that range up here. We are at a key level. Anything can go kind of happen with that, but whenever you see a big candle like this, whether it's on any time frame, just know that there's going to be profit takers and short sellers in concert pulling that down for a pullback. And that's what we see here. We had a nice open with a bunch of bear bars. Now we're back up to a median, kind of a retracement, if you will. This is about half the move for resistance right here. So you can print 384.50 as a key resistance level. Well, we'll just borrow the line. If we break that, we can go bullish. If we reject that, we can go and make a bearish 1-for-1 and achieve a 5-minute 200 period test. Oh my goodness. Whew, there's a lot of institutional traders chattering on stuff. Debt ceiling stuff they're talking about mostly. A lot of them are, a lot of the institutional traders right now are focusing on trading currency, particularly USD and JPY. So retail is kind of what is producing a lot of this, whereas a lot of the institutional traders are kind of staying out of this for the time being, unless they're selling options into it. Some of them are. Yeah, we're looking at pretty much muted participation in the market today. So it's like likely to be a range day, and in this range, looks like we'll stay till about midday. The unfinished target is certainly going to be that bearish 1-for-1. It may or may not complete it, but this is our range for today until we side a break. And if it breaks bearish, we can certainly expect to move to 410. If it breaks bullish, we can certainly expect to move to 415. What is cool about this, though, is you can actually make some 0-day plays on this with a strangle. And towards the end of the day, you can catch a break. And usually you can profit pretty greatly on that. By that, I mean when you have a range day, usually the pain zone is going to narrow down from like the $10 to $12 range down to like the $6 range, which is ideal. So if you can go literally 3 strikes in either direction from where price is trading and produce a 0-day strangle, one side or the other will catch a huge profit return if it just moves $2 either direction.
There we go. Could you hear me? There we go. I don't know what happened before with my speed test and download and all that stuff. Because now it's staying stronger. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I just overclocked it before. It was its first time. It was the computer's first time, so it got scared.
I'll allow it.
Yo, these levels today, guys, fantastic. Like, we did not have a strong supply zone on ES over here around this 4164, 4168 level. Had this blue area of interest because at some point it was a strong supply zone. Then it ended up using it as a demand zone. So I kept it. What happened? We used it as a supply today. you would have been able to get in around 4165 and target key level 4155 for 10 points, and then 4145. I mean, we go to 4140, which is the next area of interest, which is pretty crazy. It's always good that this is why I keep my charts clean. No indicators, no extra anything. It's in again, nothing wrong with it. Those are great for entries and exits too. But if I'm playing the price action and volume and stuff, and futures contracts, and I'm not trying to scalp quick, and I'm okay, like, okay, I'm okay to enter over here with the stop up here, and it's cool if it chops around here for a bit, because I don't really care, because it's a futures. So you're able to say, okay, let's see, like here we go, if you got in long over here, and you were targeting this area, you wouldn't have stopped out because we started rejecting this key level. Maybe you would have took some profit off because this would have been take profit number one, but you would hold because your target wasn't hit. The set and forget.
That was a nice clean break on the regression line. Made a perfect move. 1 for 1 is done there. Came out, hit a division up here in the upper deviations, and now we're testing back to about the 200 period I'd expect.
You back to rejecting its supply zone. That's nice. This is that 6-hour zone. First time it's being used, so that's super strong. Nope, not first time being used last night. It was used up at the top.
And there's the other thing is we have some wicks here on the 1 minute chart right at that key level. That was our resistance where it attempted to break there before.
Yeah.
But if you look at a 5 minute chart, you can do this a lot more simply. Instead of drawing a pivot here or a resistance line, draw it with a crayon. I'll just put a box on it. So we have this here. This becomes a short-term supply zone, exactly like you said. Shade that gray, there we go. And effectively, we don't need any of these lines. So this is just two different ways to get to the same conclusion. Well, now we know there's liquidity here. There's likely to be suppliers or sellers here. If we breach this zone, we can expect that this will become a support zone or a demand zone. If we continue to reject that, well, our demand zone is down here. So let's draw a 5 minute demand. Currently, if you just look left one candle, that zone is right at the top edge of our 1 for 1 that's in here. If you wanted to draw that out, you can, but what are we missing here? That's a big ass double bottom. This is R1. So technically, if it pulls back, this will be the median. This will be where it would test before a breakout. So if it pulls back and rejects this supply zone, this becomes your demand zone down here. So like when Kevin and I are both always talking about this, but in different ways. Like these zones can be tracked down to a 5-second chart if you want. They play out pretty well on pretty much every time frame. The hard part is identifying them. So if you just find your common areas of interest on different time frames, it'll start to make sense. So like here we have a 1 minute chart. We're able to look and see that our box prints exactly that wick. Well, it's in common with the 5 minute chart. Possibly common if we look left far enough. It's pretty much right in there with a 15-minute chart. Not quite in a 30-minute chart, but it's the upper range of the wick. So is the lower range of the wick. And the funny thing is, if you look left far enough, you'll see that these will go back way in history and be historical supply and demand zones to boot. We don't have to because we're trading a 1 and 5 minute chart, so we can look at this. Here we go. We broke that supply zone. Now we're above the 200. We made a nice bullish 1 for 1 outside the deviation. Our regression line just moved. Now we're here.
Candles close too, because we were rejecting that supply zone on NQ on the 5 minute. Looked like it. And what happened in the last minute of the 5-minute candle? It just said, "See ya."
Yep.
Faked everybody out. They know what we look for in the 5-minute. They'll let things close.
Yep.
That's why hindsight's so pretty. Hindsight, you say, "Oh, if I saw this candle, I would have blah blah blah." Yeah, well, you could if you let it close.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, I'm using a Bluetooth keyboard. Stupid question. Could that be affecting the Wi-Fi at all? No.
No, it's a different band.
No, I didn't think so. Alright, I didn't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with it. We can get you tuned up. I can.
You know who I talk to sometimes? You remember Raj?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm still in contact with him. He trades ICT. Any of you guys here ever hear of the ICT concept? Ricardo, how about you?
I couldn't hear what you were asking.
Have you ever heard of ICT, the trading style?
No.
Hey, Kevin. Yeah, I'm actually trying to learn that. This is pretty good. I just started learning it like probably 2 months ago. Probably went through like the first 6, 7 videos, and so far, even that helps big time.
You know what it is, guys? It's another form of market context and reading liquidity. They use things like fair value gap, and a fair value
Hmm.
gap would be something like this. I'm gonna, if you guys want to hop over into the stream, I'm gonna look for like yeah, this would have been a fair value gap right here on the 15-minute. They basically look for areas where we like completely sell off, and there's got to be liquidity there because the market moved too fast. So like from this sell-off right here, it would be the previous wick to the next candle's wick. So like this whole bar would be the fair value gap. So they would look to short in this area to go short. It's just like how we would play supply zone and go short. They look for this liquidity to go short, or they
Right.
look for that as a target. There's other things like they also, you know what is ICT as well is the SMT divergence. What that is basically what I've been trying to teach is not trying, I feel like I've been pretty okay at it. But basically when you notice when ES and NQ, here we go, perfect.
I'm gonna fit your screen better while you're talking about this and showing it. There we go.
For sure. So we have divergence right here on ES and NQ, right, on the larger time frame. This is
Ah!
after a rally, right? So the market's going higher, we're going higher,
Damn it.
going higher.
All right, fine.
What happens? Not working?
I got it now.
All
I just
right.
had to adjust it to fit my. That's what I love about OBS. I can crop everything out and focus on the important stuff.
For sure, for sure. So we're looking at the higher time frame now. What happens? We had this big rally. Everybody's bullish. Everybody's bullish. But if you know how divergence works, you're gonna see right here there was divergence. NQ Nasdaq created a higher high because it went higher than this high, so it's a higher high. While ES failed to create a higher high, so created a lower high. That's the divergence you look for, and usually this signifies some type of market change or market shift in market structure. That's the word I was looking for. What happens after? We start dropping. We drop hard on ES, like really hard on ES. And the reason for that is because look, this had the bearish divergence. This was lower. This created the lower high, while Nasdaq created the higher high. So you would want to play bearish on ES. If Nasdaq was creating the lower high, you would want to be bearish on Nasdaq. Obviously, being bearish on both of them works because it's a shift in the market overall, but ES's drop was insane. I mean, this is 4,200. We'll say we'll start it right here. 4,200 to 4130, a 70-point drop at least, and I was rounding down. So it's cool. Divergence is really cool. I love divergence. That's huge. Like even right here, that's crazy. Here's some crazy divergence. We created equal highs on Nasdaq, but we're way off those highs on ES. we're all the way over here. That's what's cool about TradingView too, guys, is you could have the charts linked up with the date range, time intervals, and the crosshair, so you could see exactly what's going on where. So where this high was in comparison to NASDAQ's high, which was all the way, this high all the way over here, that's insane. And of course we know the reason for that. Alright, appreciate you, Ricardo. The reason for that is because Nvidia had its earnings, so it went insane, went up, what, like,
27% at one point, 28%.
yeah, like $80 or something, like, no, yeah, it was crazy, some craziness. So obviously what's going to happen is the NASDAQ's going to be affected more by that, because the NASDAQ is heavier in Nvidia versus ES, which isn't as heavy in Nvidia. Gotta remember, NASDAQ is mainly tech. So when I hear that, what my mind goes to is NASDAQ is mainly ES's top 10. That's how I hear that. So if we're being extra volatile in Apple, in this, in that, in Tesla, in Google, not so much Meta. Meta's not really weighed. Microsoft, Amazon, these are really, really good stocks that are weighed heavy in the ES, but really heavy in the NASDAQ. Now, when I say really heavy, an ES, it's about, the top 10 are about 27%, which for the NASDAQ 500, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty big percent, 27%. But for NASDAQ, it's 58%. 58%, just those top 10 stocks, just those Apple, Tesla, Google, Microsoft. That's a big, big, big percent. They have a big impact on NASDAQ. So if you trade equities even, that's a good thing to note too. You know, if you trade equities, trade with NASDAQ. Is NASDAQ going up? Great. Okay, which equity is going up with it? Is it weak? All right, which equity is selling off? What's bringing us lower? So that's another thing you could do with the market, is use NASDAQ to sort of gauge those top 10 and, of course, the divergence. All right, I'm done.
I'm drawing some liquidity zones on Q actually as you're talking there.
Yeah, divergence is huge, guys. It's really great. It's all about knowing how to read market structure and knowing how to read price action, finding the supply and demand zone. Supply and demand is just your support and resistance, except with liquidity. So you see where the institutions are buying, which wouldn't you rather buy with them than against them? I know I would.
Let's see here. There it is. Ironclad posted this a while back, and this is
Where is Ironclad? I see he's in here. Where you at, bro?
Yo,
there he
I'm
is.
like,
Come on.
All right, give me
I'm-
a second here.
You
I'm
alright, bro?
I'm testing a bot.
Testing a bot.
Yeah.
Break it.
Don't
Break
test
it.
me. Break it.
Break the bot. All right.
And I got this bot, this Ninja Trader bot from this guy.
Oh,
And
what's it called? Is it the Viper one? No.
no, the Twister something.
Twister, okay.
Yes, because I plugged into an Apex Sim account, and I'm trying to play around with their strategies. So I got it late yesterday. So this morning I'm like, let me turn things on and play around with it. So I kind of been watching it. It's I think I do better. I do better by myself. Really,
Yeah. I was like, where's the homie at? Ironclad's always dropping his crazy good levels and stuff. I see you're still posting in the main chat, so I appreciate that. Keep doing that, because, you're good at it, and I appreciate you, and I think everybody else does too. And you know what? It helps others to learn, because they see what other people are looking at.
Yeah, I'm gonna be more active next week. I mean, this
That's
week
cool.
been a little busy with work too, and everything is falling apart at work. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's like time is gonna
That's
free
tough.
up a little. But yeah,
Oh,
hey Jeremy, so that thing that you posted right there,
Yeah.
that was PayPal to the T, man.
Yep.
That was Zoom to the T,
That's a,
and I feel that we are in that you know
well,
3.123 area right there right now with the brother markets, man.
yep.
Yeah.
And then look at SPY and look at the weekly chart and look way left, and it's kind of similar there. Aside from the fact that we've got kind of the structure set up for a cup and handle on SPY on the weekly chart, but it's like it can it can be that what is it, the right third there, distribution. So if it fails to breach this key zone here, which is going to be up in that 425 to 430 area, if it can't breach that, it'll look exactly like that example. It'll break down very rapidly. So that's kind of
Yep.
looming. And if you look at SPY, it's like that absolutely mirrors that picture.
So clear the chart and
Pardon me.
broaden it. Clear the chart and broaden it to, as far back as you can see where it's kind of the flattening area. And then that big jump that happened between 2010 to, 2020
Yep.
or, 22, whatever that is. Cause that's how I looked at it, man. And I'm like, man, this is resembling so much of
Yeah.
that picture. And then I went back and I looked at PayPal. I looked at Zoom. I looked at a couple of other stocks that did exactly the same thing. Like if you look at Crocs years ago,
Yep.
I mean, it did that same exact thing. And now Crocs is all the way back up there to like the 80s or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, compare those two.
train
So
station.
I mean, we
And
we technically have a cup and handle here on the weekly chart for SPY, but just be aware that this resembles that market structure chart there so much. This is kind of uncanny. I don't think I don't think we're just going to up and manifest exactly that, because it can sit here and grind sideways for months and not move realistically. But in the short term, that long term distribution zone is going to be kind of irrelevant until it starts happening. So how do we
So
know?
I was talking to the guy on Alpha Transfer for a little. I chatted with him on this chart, right? And he basically says he hasn't seen this structure play out in the broader indexes, right?
Right.
Because it's a conglomerate of so many stocks, so much stuff. Not every one of them is going to do the same exact thing. So he says it works better with individual companies
Right.
versus that, because individual companies basically, the big boys are saying, hey, we're done with our profits, let's get out of this and go somewhere else, right? But with the index, like, or the SPY or, futures he has and stuff, it's very hard for that complete scenario to play out,
Right.
right?
There's a lot of moving parts that have to all fall exactly in the same price range to do that.
Yep.
All right, so we got one last push off of our regression line here. I think we'll run just almost to that upper fan. I think we're going to stop at about the split here for a consolidation. So you can get one more 1-for-1 out of this into the 11 o'clock hour here, and that's looking like about it,
a short
unfortunately.
over here would be a nice entry because you could put your stop a point and a half away. The only thing I don't like is that the equities are strong right now.
Well, we can pretty
But
much.
NQ and ES are in supply. Well, ES isn't in supply. ES though is that fair value gap we were just talking about.
Right.
Do I need to make my mic louder or is it good?
It's
I
good
can
enough.
hear you.
I can
I can hear you
adjust you.
perfectly. Yeah.
What was that?
I can hear you very well.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's good.
Yo, Melcat, how's it going? Madcore, how's it going?
Oh,
Joe
gosh.
Waters, everybody. Victoria, hello, hello.
I ran out of screen space to run the comments, so it's on you.
Mm.
um,
Remy,
I'm
Urban Jungle Baby, hello,
sharing your
everybody.
screen right now, so I'm gonna flip to
Oh,
my screen real
okay,
quick and then wrap up.
for sure.
Sorry for all the trouble this morning on YouTube, guys. We're just kind of working out some bugs.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully, I just got this computer like last night, so I'm thinking maybe it was just like just a glitch. I don't know. I'm gonna play with it later.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So look for NVIDIA. This is going to be a critical resistance area, this 382 line here. I think we can probably flirt with a little bit more of a pullback before we can start trusting a trend on this thing. But, you know, this is parabolic AF. Of course there's going to be profit taking. Of course there's going to be sellers in here.
Order canceled.
We hit a key support area with a very quick bearish move. So we kind of bounced off that pretty readily, the 366 area here. So we can range this somewhere in a split and probably see just accumulation before we decide whether we're going to continue trending or not. Q, kind of much of the same because, you know, it's pretty heavy in NVIDIA. And, you know, we're looking at a liquidity zone that is very crucial on the weekly chart. That's what we're in right now. So we're kind of like deciding whether this is going to be market structured to the T on the capitalization and the decline of trend. I'm not sure yet. We're going to see what comes down the pipe. One thing that I've been hinting at every now and then, and I know a couple of very skilled analysts that I tend to follow, are comparing the S&P and Q to central bank liquidity. They're charting central bank liquidity in comparison, and it's been interesting because it's complete divergence. Both SPY and Q have been melting up while bank liquidity has gone down. So at some point, the market's going to run out of that liquidity, and somehow there's going to either be some serious participation in a bear move to fall over and recapture that liquidity range, or there's going to be the inverse of that, where we just continue to pair off so much that we have a very, very sudden merge or sudden convergence of those two lines. So I don't have the ability to chart central bank liquidity with my Webull app here. I might be able to find it in TradingView a little later, and I'll get back into TradingView as soon as I can. I gotta play with the drawings a little bit and get used to it. But for now, I'm doing great with my Webull drawings, one step at a time.
Yeah, I think we go higher. We got VIX is going lower.
We're setting up kind of canceling that bearish 1-for-1 to go to the bottom of liquidity here. That's still present. It still can happen. We're starting to look.
You're gonna get that 41.55 for sure.
Starting to look a little double toppy here on the 1-minute chart. So just be cautious and aware that it can break down and finish that move. But for the time being, we're also looking at the possibility of a bullish 1-for-1 out of this accumulation from one to the next. That would stack up here. It wouldn't quite meet the top of our liquidity range. So don't know that we're going to get any move all of a sudden, but when it does happen, it will be after some accumulation here. So be aware that noon's going to be interesting. I've got a couple bill auctions coming out soon. Around 1:30, we had something else coming out, the 7-year or whatever it was. That might be significant. But other than that, we don't have a lot of news to push the market around. So likely to be a range day. We can form into a trend day in the second half of the market hour or market time, and maybe see some follow through and price action with it. I'm going to about wrap it up. I'll get one more quick look at Tesla before I go.
55 hit. Oh, that
Nice.
was money. I love when that happens. I love when
Bam.
I'm like, oh yeah, you got that. Yeah, it's right there. You're gonna get it, and
Clean.
it happens.
Clean 1-for-1.
Too clean.
Very nice.
Trust your levels. Trust your zones. Trust the charts.
Tesla had a nice bearish opening, but we've come back to a 50% retracement. 200 period runs right through that on the 5-minute chart. We're starting to build some accumulation here. We might be able to finish running to the top of the box. Again, that's going to be a second half of the day move more likely. Alright then, guys, I'm going to sign off the YouTube, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning with less errors.
Less glitches, yeah.
Have a great one.